Me katsotaan Ullankaan ne kytkimet tuossa. Eikö se ole paremmin?
Okay, nice to meet everybody and welcome to EDUXR 2020 event. Eli tervetuloa EDUXR 2020 tapahtumaan ja tässä kello 1 avattiin ovet tänne. At 1 p.m. we opened the doors and discovered the area. And during the event, you are encouraged to discover places and talk to people as we are doing the social VR. Eli ei muuta kuin järjestäjät ja yleisö, tervetuloa sitten tapaamaan keskenään sitten täällä tapahtumassa. Ja nyt meillä on Welcome to the Future organizers Juha Eskelinen, Merja Juntunen, Ilona Laakkonen, Pekka Ouli, Jarmo Viteli. I guess Juha will present Jarmo too. Am I right? Eli,
yes, of course.
Eli esiintyjät ovat tällä hetkellä niin Juha Eskelinen, Merja Juntunen, Ilona Laakkonen, Pekka Ouli ja Jarmo Viteli ja sitten edustaa sitten Juha sitten tuossa. Miltäs nyt Juha tuntuu? Tapahtuma on käynnistymässä. Mitä meillä on odotettavissa? Event is starting. What do you think we are doing?
Yeah, so hello everybody, and my name is Juha Eskelinen. I come from Tampere University, work there as a CDO, and we organized this session with a EDUXR team, and I'm thrilled to see that we have 3 excellent keynotes here. Firstly, we hear about the future of work and how it will change during the VR or XR era. Then we learn about the future of learning, and that's a very recent study that has been made for in learning in VR and the pedagogical and the kind of learning innovations in there. And lastly, we have Yle's Finnish broadcasting company's innovation team here explaining about how would our future workmates look like. And I must say that the setup is very excellent. We have also reserved quite a lot of time for you guys to mingle and take a look at the exceptional worlds that the creators have done. You can go there through the lobby in downstairs, and there's a portal for every place. And lastly, in the evening, we hear a live music from a singer and a songwriter, Heikki Salo, and he will be performing in the ballroom later this evening. And Pekka Ouli will be taking care of the hosting here, so you can always turn to him and ask if you have some questions or want to talk about something, or he would like to see something. And I would like everybody in the organizing committee to say a few words. So, Memma, could you start?
I can start, yeah. Welcome to the future. I'm Memma, Merja Juntunen from University of Jyväskylä. I'm a teacher educator, and yeah, let's meet each other and talk much about VR and learning and working and everything like that, and let's have fun. Hope you enjoy. Yeah.
And then that would mean me, maybe. I amplified my voice, so thank you, Pekka. I'm Ilona Laakkonen from the YAMK University of Applied Sciences. I work in the teacher education department there as an e-learning designer. And I've been looking forward for the virtual worlds to really enable interaction and experiential learning. And I think this is a great opportunity to do something differently. So thank you for all of you for being here. And I hope that you find this worthwhile and also that you get to know the demo spaces and see how imagination and learning and virtual worlds come together. Thank you.
And lastly, we have Jarmo, Viteli in the audience. Would you like to say something?
I guess he's a strong silent type.
Okay.
Sorry. Very briefly.
Okay, now.
Now you can hear me. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, I'm hiding here in the middle of the audience, but it's great to be here, and I'm really looking forward to this presentation, also to meeting you.
Just a second, Jarmo. We cannot hear your voice. Maybe somebody could amplify Jarmo's voice.
Oh, okay. Is it amplified now?
Click the amplify my voice symbol.
If I can only find that symbol.
Or maybe we can.
Se on multa mykistettynä. Mä en pysty valittamaan sitä.
Okay, well, I do it later on. Okay, that's okay. No problem. What about now?
Just a second.
And I think that all these moves like this, amplifying people's voices, is learning that Ilona told here, and how the presentations are going. We may face difficulties, but I think everything here is concert learning and working in a future environment. But how about Juha? Did we get amplified to Jari?
Yeah, for some reason it's not possible at the moment. Maybe the microphone.
Okay.
We can take
Yeah.
the microphone there.
Yeah. We have problems and we have solutions.
Okay.
Up.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I have to take a picture.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Yep.
Okay, good. Okay, yeah, it's Jarmo here. Sorry to create problems for you. So, yeah, but I'm here in the middle of the audience, and it's great to be here today. And I'm sure that also the future is here. So we're really looking forward to those presentations and also the meeting and then having chatting to all of you. So thanks for being here today.
Great. Thank you. Okay, Pekka, go ahead.
Okay. I think that this was a good example how we face problems and how we solve these. And the next keynote is Spark, Future of Work, and Ulla Koivula, CEO of Thinglink, is telling us her ideas about future work. And I've been knowing her some time, and I know that Ulla has really interesting stories. So, stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Pekka. This is what an exciting event, I was able to climb up the stairs finally, and I'm ready to go. I'm going to ask for my first slide, please. Assuming slides will appear here, right? Cool, thank you so much. Well, very nice to meet you all. Thanks again for the invitation. I think like partially why I was invited to speak at this event in the first place was that some time ago we moved from United States to Finland. And can I have the next slide, please? And you know, like the reason for moving was pretty common sense, like why anybody moves, and our reasons were that, well, we had been living in California for 6 years. Then came March. We have 3 kids. Schools were closed. Youngest of the kids is 5 years old. We have 2 working parents, no grandparents around. You could not see your friends anymore, like nobody else. And so I told my husband at some point that, look, John, it's time to pack our bags and go to Finland. So Yle then made a story about this because it was what was interesting about the move that we pack our bags, but that's all. We remained in our current jobs, so we basically continued doing what we were doing here in North Karelia, basically in the middle of nowhere, as somebody would say. And so it was an interesting story as such, and then people started thinking, well, I wonder if thousands of other people from Silicon Valley could do like that, and could Finland actually be some kind of next paradise for remote workers? So that's, I heard, was one of the reasons I was asked to work here. Can I have the next slide, please? The second reason I believe that was that coincidentally 2 years ago, I started building an experimental piece of wood architecture on our property here in North Karelia. And that was primarily because the farm that we have there is very small and modest. When I bought it from my relatives, it didn't even have a shower inside, and it has 2 bedrooms. So it was obvious that we could not invite John's parents to visit and not really friends to visit. And I said, well, let's just this is not like a super exciting place in itself. So let's just build a really cool guest house. And I asked my friends Kivi and Tuuli Sotamaa, the founders of Atelier Sotamaa, to design something exciting that would go well with the North Karelian landscape and the nature. So we started building a guest house called the Meteorite. Now, of course, we don't get any guests today because nobody can really travel. So we decided, okay, let's turn this guest house into our office. And again, my husband is working for Facebook, and Facebook doesn't have an office in Finland. So I was joking to John, like, hey, so if Facebook doesn't have an office in Finland, so this is now the Facebook Finland office. And he's like, don't say that aloud. But anyways, this is the Thinglink office in Finland, and the work actually we do in the house, work I do in the house is thinking about virtual spaces and how to make it easy to build virtual spaces. Can I have the next slide, please? As the company that I founded 10 years ago was founded with the idea that visual media is going to be a central part of the future of learning, and smart visual media will help us access places that otherwise we could not access. I chose this example, of course, because Pekka had created this wonderful campus tours to and really, like, as a pioneer of 360 viewing in Finland, he decided, hey, let's build continuous access for students to our campus and to different work or learning environments. So coming from these 3 kind of like angles, coming from California, building the weird looking office space and building technology for virtual learning spaces, I wanted to make my main argument for the topic of this talk is that when we talk about the future of work, can I have the next slide, please? We're actually talking about spatial solutions. So the discussion is around rethinking spatial solutions for work. And can I have the next slide, please? Let's take a couple of words back. Or a couple of years back, for 120 years, basically our society has been built with the idea that work and school happen happens outside home. And that's how all buildings, basically the whole infrastructure relies on, right? Work, school happens outside home. But in this situation, can I have the next slide? As we all know, the home is looking very different. And this started, if we look at Silicon Valley, it started first by Twitter saying that, okay, Twitter was the first one who said, now all our employees can work from home permanently, right? Google was fast to follow. Google was next. Employees can work from home. Pinterest decided not to continue constructing a massive office building in San Francisco. Then at some point, Facebook followed. And there's more and more talk about the Silicon Valley is not anymore the same. So where are all the people from Silicon Valley going? How is our work looking like in the future? Can I have the next slide, please? So how it looks today really is to summarize is not so much in Finland, luckily, and hopefully, but in most part of the world, schools are closed, campuses are closed. And no matter if big offices are closed, but what's worse is that even offsites are off. Which means like you can't really see your team members ever face to face and brainstorm what you're going to do next and how you're going to build innovations and revolutions. And that's hard. Can I have the next slide, please? Instead, we have a situation where, if you change the slide, we have a situation where like we're at home, and home is place for everything possible. Home is for school, home is our workplace, home is when we can't go for vacation, pretty much our place for vacation, home is our restaurant, and home is our movie theater. And obviously, even if in many studies over 50% of the people, especially in Finland, are interested in continuing remote work, and many are loving remote work, we're seeing that this is not necessarily the sustainable solution going forward. Can I have the next slide, please? It's interesting. I found I was looking at the history of workspaces, and I found this great quote from the 1850s Victorian or Victorian England, the UK government report about office space layout. And I love the quote here. It's saying, "For the intellectual work, separate rooms are necessary, so that the person who works with his head, not hands, might not be interrupted," right? So if you work with your head, you should not be interrupted. But if you work with your hands, it's okay to be in the same room with others. Can I have the next slide, please? So what has happened? Well, something that is happening, especially in the US, what we're seeing there, that the demand for backyard sheds,
Sorry,
for
Ulla.
example.
Sorry, Ulla.
Yeah.
Jarno, could you close the microphone? I cannot mute it from here. Can you hear me? Okay, I think that his microphone is closed. Okay, please proceed.
Okay. Thanks, Jarno. So what's happening? People are trying to create the separation between the home space and the office space, even on their backyards. Can I have the next slide, please, Pekka? What's happening in the virtual space? So this is very interesting. What we've seen, we launched our easy virtual tour creator 2016. So we had some time to explore and see what kind of spaces people are building using 360 images and 360 videos of their real world environments. So what we are seeing, that the kind of events and the kind of activities that are moving to the virtual space, they have to do with introducing a space. So we are seeing or introducing space or introducing people, introducing ideas. So what we are seeing a lot of campus tours, a lot of office tours in the virtual space. We are seeing a lot of mandatory trainings, safety drills in the virtual space. We are seeing an increasing number of product trainings, salespeople trainings. We're seeing museums, exhibitions opening virtually using a technology like Thinglink. We are seeing different kind of company virtual visits. Companies are building access for students to visit their space, and we are seeing a lot of students building field trips. We are seeing an increasing number of technical courses happening in the virtual space. Can I have the next slide, please? And what's common to most of these experiences is they're trying to basically answer build the basic knowledge or basic level knowledge of a physical environment or situation. Answering to questions is such as, what is this place? What are the things here around me, and how do they work? So this can you do pretty easily in the virtual space. And of course, the benefits are obvious. It saves time and money. It saves the nature as well. There is less logistical hassle. People don't have to travel. It's more just productive and time efficient. People actually are reporting better learning curves, and that's partially because they can revisit the experience. If you didn't get it first time on a tour, it's okay. You can always go back. There is automatic language translation and these kind of new things that make it easier for people to understand and retain what they're seeing, right? There is also, can I have the next slide, please? And this is the first wave. So building the basic concepts, building the basic knowledge. What we're also seeing that there is a lot of interest for skills development and more complicated type of interactions, even still using the 360 media, right? So we are seeing interest and demand for self-reflection, different kind of assessment. We're seeing interest for having personal or like virtual assistant, helping you through the learning experience. We are seeing different kind of interactions, live streaming, different kind of live interactions that could be initiated from the space. And for example, in Finland, we are just experimenting how you could scale teacher training using 360 media and for example, do education export in other countries. So this is really interesting where it's going. Can I have the next slide, please? But still, we might ask, with all this new technology, what's the thing we are missing? Can I have the next slide, please? I was thinking last week we had our first small team meeting in person with 3 members of our team, and Ulla was visiting, and I realized that what is really difficult, especially when you run a technology team, trying to build something, it's same in research and any other area, that it is just very, very difficult to brainstorm the future together when you're always on scheduled video calls. And it's hard to just get the extra time, sit and sip tea and come up with ideas as you would do on a team offsite. Can I have the next slide, please? And so I started thinking, when talking about the future of work and the spatial solutions, so I started thinking, well, maybe one of the things that will happen, that we will see happening because of the current situation and this trend, is sort of like atomization of single unit spaces, right? So if we talk about offices, we see an atomization of a single building into multiple buildings that are safe, that can be cost efficient, but that can still be close to each other. Right, and so I started being interested in this concept of podding. How many of you, raise your hand? How many of you are interested in? Are aware of the concept of podding? Couple. I think New York Times has written about podding the most when they described how families in the U.S., when schools were closed, they came together, three families or 10 families or 5 families organizing homeschools. So these homeschools were called as pods. And now we're seeing people talk about podding in other contexts as well. So I started thinking, like, how is podding going to change schools? How is podding going to change our office spaces and work? And how is going to show it? How is it going to show in architecture? Can I have the next slide, please? So we try to build, like, regarding podding. So we build an experiment, like, and this is one picture of the media, right? We built an experiment of a living office. So basically our guest house turned into a living office. And I started thinking, like, well, maybe this is one of the things that we will see in the future, is that office spaces are kind of like, not anymore open offices, but they're living offices, atomized spaces where people can come for 2 weeks or 2 months. If they live in different countries, they can come and be together safely. I'm super excited to see Finnish young architects coming up with interesting concepts, and Finland being again like on the front line of architecture and the current development and trends, coming up with new solutions for safely being together. Thank you very much. I love being here. I'm happy to take questions, but it was great to talk. If you want to connect with me, so my Facebook and Twitter is Ulla Maria. Let's connect. Thank you so much.
Okay, that was really cool, and I think that your ideas how people will work in the future really resonates with me, and we have a time for people to ask. Do you think you have some questions? I think now it's a really good time. If I open the microphones. Now you can open your microphone and talk with your voice.
So
Maybe Juha.
Yeah. So Ulla, what do you think about then about the spaces and architecture, but and podding? How do you see that the technology would be affecting this phenomenon?
I just heard it. I think the question was like, how the architecture of podding, what kind of, did you say, phases or stages, and how the technology would be integrated in this pod architecture? Yes. Was that your question?
Yes.
More or less, yes. Yeah, so we also been thinking about the technology, and I think that there must be if you think about it, like the kind of idea where only one company owns one space and where they might or might not be able to be together is kind of waste. So you have to design these spaces from the beginning that they could be shared spaces, so that a company might take over a space for a certain period of time. It also means that you have to build in some kind of obviously options for privacy. So what this means also, that maybe there are spaces, like for example media rooms. When we are currently thinking the future office for Thinglink, we're thinking this pod structure where you have common rooms, and some of them are media rooms. So, or for example, working with a company in Mikkeli to see like if we can turn one cube into an interactive media room where you can immersively then travel around the world and with your team. And so, but there are different facilities that then team can share, and if the team doesn't need it, you can rent them out for others.
I would like to ask a question that, do you see any challenges? You and your husband came from US to Finland. Do you think that if you have international teams, are there any challenges that people come to Finland to work in such places?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is that people can't get to Finland to work in the first place. They can come to Finland to work for 3 months on a tourist visa currently, but it's good to remember that we do not, for example, my husband could not have come to Finland unless we were married and we had a child, even if he works for Facebook and, you know, all the good things that, you know, could happen for Finland. But you can't really come to Finland and get a work permit and residence permit without this kind of connection. So that should be made much easier. You can get if your employer also moves to Finland, but if you continue working to a foreign employer, you can't come. And that's of course understandable, because we want to make sure that you also pay taxes to Finland if you're using these services. But as I said, I think one of the easy solutions would be just to package them and put a price tag for people who want to come here for 6 months or for 12 months and offer those services for a price.
I agree.
Yep. One other
Okay.
question, please. How do you see, Ulla, how this could affect the universities and schools? Because traditionally they are kind of buildings that people come there physically in large rooms and auditoriums, and how would this affect the schools and universities?
Well, I guess like we could look at a couple of things, and I'm sure that you are like aware of these very well. But Google is saying they're going to disrupt the 4-year university degree with small, easy, flexible courses that people can take online. I mean, I personally do think all education should exist in the cloud as an alternative way for accessing education, and higher education is most likely to move into the cloud faster than the basic education, obviously, because, well, for obvious reasons. And I think like vocational education, technical education is it's the most interesting and also in the most critical role, because half of the people in Europe, employed people, will need some kind of upskilling very soon. We have hundreds of millions of young people in 10 years without the qualifications to enter the job market unless we do something. So we have really, really serious societal problems ahead of us unless we give access to education and college education in different ways. So I think it's not even questionable anymore. All education should be in the cloud. It doesn't mean it only should be in the cloud, but I think at this point there is really no question about it anymore. But the challenges are definitely then how do we have standards even on the European level? How do we have standards for certain degrees? How we collaborate? But Juha, of course, you have a great, interesting example of the European university that you are working on. That's probably the direction it's going to go. Also in India, for example, if you read the latest Indian national education policy, the plan is to merge higher education and vocational education under the same organizations.
Can I ask something?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. I'm a vocational school teacher. I teach animal care, and I'm very interested of teaching to people which are living in other countries, and I want to find out how do the other teachers do in Europe some things, especially if you talk about social farming or green care. So what are the first steps in my way to this direction?
The first step, as with the first step towards the cloud, I'm assuming you're asking. I think the first step, as with education, any education, even if it's online or offline, is that you have good materials. For online, you can make more engaging materials in many ways. So I would say video is definitely something to invest in. 360 viewing is something to invest in, because there are studies already that show that if you get contextual experience of the topic you're learning about, the learning is faster. It helps you anchor the information because you simultaneously, you're able to hear, see, observe, and so forth. But so I'd say that the first step would be start making visual materials that you can then enrich and share. Enrich, for example, your for other materials with your voice, with your with any other information, and then sharing. And of course, the really the challenge, but the interesting thing is that if you can engage your community or your colleagues to do the same, then you are actually starting to build these ecosystems that can be beneficial for thousands.
Thank you.
Sorry, I was
Thank you.
But I'm thinking about future work environment. How you think about networks as infrastructure? I think you have been in USA and in Finland. Do you think Finland has enough quality in networks that we can do remote work?
You mean like the physical, the infrastructure?
Yeah.
The internet. You mean the internet connection?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you know that better than me, but I've seen some headlines previously that probably is not the case everywhere, and it's really a question of what is public infrastructure, what's private infrastructure. It's a question of policy. What do we want to build? I mean, I probably most of us in this room think that internet connection should be as public roads, and you wouldn't have to pay for that, because that puts people in very inequitable situations.
I agree, and actually my situation here is I'm at quarantine and I work from the home with mobile network, and that's why I've been coming and going back this event that we are hosting. What do you think? Sorry, I missed the last couple minutes. Shall we continue the presentation or the questions from the crowd, or are we ready?
Probably I've used my time good, and but I really want to thank you again, everybody, for the questions. And if you have any questions afterwards, feel free to contact me. This was a great first experience, actually, presenting with the good headset.
Yeah, and actually I can recognize your moves there. You feel very familiar. We have been seeing each other in the real life, and
yes.
And let's give applause to Ulla.
Great.
And
thank you.
And thank you for your presentation. And let's take a selfie if we turn around.
Okay.
with the people here.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Where are you? Yeah, there.
I'm here, and
yeah.
I'll take a selfie. Okay, I have to check where you are. I go here, maybe here. Yep. And take this one. Yeah, cool. And thank you. And I encourage people to visit different places. And as Ulla said, feel free to discuss with other persons. Eli nyt meillä on Tanin tauko tässä näin. Seuraava esitys alkaa kello 15. Nyt teillä on hyvää aikaa tutustua toisiin ihmisiin, keskustella keskenään. Tuolla huoneen takaosassa löytyy portaaleja eri maailmoihin. So if you are discovering this event, at the back of the room there's portals to different places, and next keynote will start at 30 minutes. Thank you.
Joo, kiitoksia Ulla. Hieno esitys oli. Aika upea.
Joo.
Joo, aika upea oli se sun kämppä.
No niin.
Hivelee
Sulla on Juha megafoni päällä.
Onks mulla megafoni?
Kuuluu ainakin tänne kauas. Eikö ole? Okei, selvä. Joo, mä otin Ullalta kanssa. Joo. Se oli kyllä hieno.
Joo, suuret kiitokset. Oli kiva,
Ei mitään.
kiva esitys.
Hyvä, että tämä onnistui. Täytyy kyllä nyt kiittää tässä Sannia täällä mun vieressä, joka hoiti mut tänne. Oli pikkasen tiukka aikataulu, mutta onnistuttiin. Ja vielä tämä homma
Hieno
pääsi
homma.
toimimaan tämän joystickin avulla. Mä pääsin kiipeämäänkin tonne. Niin hyvä homma. Tää oli hauska.
Joo.
Hei, kokeilitko vielä? Pääsetkö nyt sinne lavalle sillä teleportilla? Katsotaan, että mikä
Ihan
ongelma
huviksi.
siinä
Jos mä
nyt oli.
häviän, niin sitten mä otas nyt. Eli sininen joo ja sitten tosta toi kaari. Eikö sori, toi tästä tää kaari tästä
Oikein.
ylemmästä kaari. Noniin, kyllä se toimii nyt. Nyt se toimii se teleportti. Minkähän takia mä hävisin, kun mä aiemmin kun mä yritin teleportata, niin mä menin sinne Herra Jumala, missä
Nyt sä joudut ulos.
tässä on joku ihan eri.
Pää näkyy ikkunasta.
Okei.
So, hi Sandy.
Täällä voi kävellä tiiliseinille.
So, what did you talk
Täällä
about the
tapahtui jotain hämärää, koska mä menin koko ajan
session?
I came
ja
in late on
tonne
iPad.
niinku urlaan.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
Mä
yeah.
olin
it takes a little bit before
Ei
it's
sieltä ei pääse pois.
can power on again.
Mä en nähnyt niitä
But
Okei.
it was
Yeah.
interesting.
Kyllä on
It was
sitten
an interesting topic as well.
Juoksen takas vai
Like a very
tuolla?
good
Yeah.
program.
Yeah, and it's streamed live in YouTube, and you can view the stream afterwards as well.
Liikut
Joo.
Okay, that's good to know.
It's
See what I
quite-
did.
Siis siellä oli
quite
homma, jos sä
handy.
yritit tonne lavalle, niin sulla ei ollut oikeuksia. Mä yritin ne mielestäni
Yeah.
pistää tohon noin, mutta se ei jostakin syystä ottanut niitä. Siis
Osku
silleen,
was
että
it as
sitten
well.
mun piti painaa
At
niin monta
least.
kertaa sitä, niin sitten se vilautti sitä vihreyttä ja sitten se ei niinku jäänyt päälle. Ja sitten kun
Oh,
mä sain
yes,
sen
perfect.
niinku jäämään päälle, niin sitten sä sait
Hello.
Hello.
How
sä
are you?
pääsit sinne. Et siinä oli joku
there's
häikkö
Thunder,
noin.
right?
Toimi vähän
Ah,
kesti.
you're post drummer.
Joo.
Fantastic.
Ei se mitään, hyvä kun se nyt toimii. Saatiin menemään. Ei mitään, hei kuule
Yes.
Mikä fiilis?
Mulla kävi kerran tuossa siinä, kun se alkoi niin mulla Lena
Some other stuff. We also have a workmates for ECIU meeting.
niinku kallistuu,
Okei,
niin
joo.
pitää
Aika niinku tosiaan kiitos
suuntavaihdot
päivä on
tehdä.
tulossa.
Mun on pakko käydä
Näinpä.
ulkona.
Hieno
Joo.
juttu. Hei, kerro ihan vielä hiljaisesti Sannille täältä kiitoksia ja mahtavaa juttu, että saatiin onnistua tällä tavalla. Kiitos Ulla, että olit täällä.
Mä pidän pienen tauon.
Yeah.
Miten noi slaidit, niin
So,
kysytkö
would
Pekka,
you like to
saako
see a
tässä
quite
sun
interesting
esityksen
place? They
Tää on
have
se
kind of
tää on se
art
YouTube-stream,
show
niin näistä tulee nämä
there
esitykset
in the
tuonne verkkoon, niin saako
lobby.
se
So
sun
if you follow me
esityksen
to the lobby.
sinne liittää myös?
Joo.
Joo, kyllä se voi liittää.
So Sunday,
Joo.
what are you
Toi on
using?
ihan mielenkiintoinen pyykkö. Pitää ruveta seuraamaan
Joo,
mitä
ja jos
ennen
tulee
kuunnella.
jotain mieleen semmoista,
Yeah,
että
I
ei
have
voi, niin
the,
pistä
no,
viestiä.
I bought the new one, the
Hyvä.
white.
Hieno,
It's
mä lähden.
white
Miten mä pääsen tältä pois?
performance
Ai niin, mä otan tietenkin vaan nämä lasit pois.
Joo.
Niin,
Ei,
sä
mutta
painat
lasia
vaan
on
niistä,
käytännössä.
niin, ja sitten siinä on menypainit, tai tosta niistä Oculus-painikkeista, niin se
Palata.
sammuttaa sitten,
Joo.
joo, ja tosta Oculus-painikkeesta, ja sitten se kysyy AltspaceVR, että jatkatko vai poistutko, niin poistut.
Pitää katsoa, että ehtii noita muitakin esityksiä. Olisi tosi kiinnostavaa jäädä tähän seisoskelemaan vielä, mutta minä katson sitten YouTubesta.
Joo, sieltä ne löytyy, ja siellä on live-striimi kanssa menossa, niin hei kiitos.
Joo. Jes, kiitoksia.
Joo.
Moikka sitten vaan.
Ja hyvää kiitospäivää.
Kiitos. Moi.
Moi moi.
Siis täällä tapahtuu jotain, Memma, kun viimeksikin mä lentelin läpi seinän ja lattia läpi. Ja nyt tapahtui sama.
Joo.
Sä kliksuttelet jossakin valikossa.
No
sun
joo, eikä kun
etusormi
mulle
heiluu
tuli, eikä
siihen
kun mulle
malliin.
tuli, joo, kato mulle tuli viesti, niin sanottiin vaan, että meidän mikit on auki, mutta niin ne on. Täällä on nyt kaikkien mikit auki, kaikki voi täällä puhua ja ihan mielellään kaikki voisi täällä keskustella. Koska nyt on puoli tuntia aikaa nimenomaan keskustella.
Kyllä.
Joo,
Juurikin näin.
joo, täällä
Hello ladies.
hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Mitäs tässä? Vähän pätkii yhteydet, en tiedä onko täällä
Ai pätkii.
periferian perällä vai mistä.
Onko se koneella vai laseilla? Koneella ilmeisesti, kun kädet roikkuu.
Tällä hetkellä.
Joo, mä sain yhden viestin,
Koneella,
että
kun kädet roikkuu.
niin, no siitä sen näkee, että onko se laseilla. Jos kädet heiluu, niin on laseilla, mutta jos kädet roikkuu, niin on koneella. Niin, mitä mä meinasin sanoa?
Mulla oli ensimmäinen
Niin,
kerta,
tuli...
kun 3 kertaa esityksen aikana pyörityi, mulla katkesi netti.
Oho.
Sillä mä niin kysyin sitten siitä niin Ullaltakin tämän, että missä vaiheessa, jatketaanko vai lopetetaanko esitys.
Niinpä. Joo, mulle tuli yksi kysymys tuossa kesken kaiken, että pitäisikö screenin näkyä, kun on koneella. Ja mä sitten vaan sanoin, että pitäisi, mutta jollakin ei niin kuin näkynyt.
Siis noi diat?
Noi diat,
Niinkö?
Joo.
Ne näkyy kyllä, koska mä
sit...
olin koneella, kun mä otin, että mä sain kunnon screenshotin viestintään. Niin, niin mä olin koneella, jos välillä laitoin lasit pois, niin näkyy aivan hyvin.
Meni Pekka hyvin.
Joo.
Hieno suuri.
Noniin, moikka. Noniin. Joo, no nyt mä tuon sen
Toimii
suloksen.
mun mielestä kaikki ihan hyvin.
Joo, mä oon itse laseilla, että mulla se näkyy, mutta se just Ilona sanoo, että hänellä oli niinku
niin.
screeni auki tai joo, tietokone auki ja siinä näkyy koko ajan.
Ihan tunnin täällä.
Niin, eikö sulla näkynyt koko aikana?
Joo, ja aika mielenkiintoisia juttuja tulee kyllä täällä.
Ei mä en laittanut niitä teleportteja, mä koitin saada kamerat esille
tekemään
esityshuoneessa. Meillä oli yksi opiskelijoista, joka oli tehnyt sen tilan, kävi niitä teleportteja laittamassa.
Niin, no onneksi näin, mutta toisaalta ihan hyvä tietää, että se ei toiminut, koska sen pitäisi niin, että olisi ihan mielenkiintoista, niin, että kuinka monella se nyt Ilonalla näkyy. Kokeiliko se sen esityksen alkamisen jälkeen, kun ne niin kuin, slaidit rupesi vaihtumaan, niin kokeiliko se sen jälkeen sulkea Altspacein ja kirjautua uudestaan?
No siis, ja nämähän on päivittynyt nämä hahmot, mullakin oli se.
Joo, mä huomasin. Ja
joo.
Jos sanotaan oikein näyttää,
joo.
Nämä on jotenkin mielenkiintoisia, niin silloin kannattaa
joo, niin siinä voi olla, semmoinen voi toimia, eli jos sä tulet niin kuin aiemmin tänne tilaan ja sitten ruvetaan selaamaan noita slideja, niin se saattaa joskus tehdä, mä huomasin itse silloin keväällä, niin kuin laseilla, okuluksilla oli sillä tavalla, että mä en niin kuin nähnyt niitä slideja, vaikka ne pyöri. Mutta sitten kun mä kävin pois ja tulin uudestaan, niin sitten mä näin. Elikkä se voi, niin kokeile seuraavan kerran, että tai silleen, että kun se että jos sä et näe sitä esitystä, tai kokeile nyt ennen seuraavaa esitystä, mutta jos sä et näe sitä seuraavaa esitystä, kun se on alkanut, niin tee se sitten, että kirjaudut ulos Altspaceista, tuut uudestaan ja katsot, että näkyykö sitten. Että semmoista mä testasin. Joo, aivan. Siinä pitäisi näkyä se on. Joo. Joo, käy pois ja kirjaudu uudestaan, niin kokeile Joo, niin se voi auttaa nyt, että se on nyt, mä en tiedä nyt mistä se johtuu, onko se nyt selaimesta kiinni tai mikä selain sulla on? Eikä kun niin, se on klienttihan se on. Mutta klienttihan se on, ei se ole mikään selain, totta kai on. Niinpä, joo. Ja sulla on Windows 10-kone. Joo.
Oliko Altspacein puolella?
Joo.
Niitä poistettuja objekteja sieltä, mitkä oli aamulla kadonnut.
Niinpä, ja sulla on Windows 10-kone, ei Mac.
Tuplana sinne.
Eikä? Joo, kyllä. Sitten mä en kyllä osaa sanoa.
Altspaceilla ollenkaan.
Niinpä. En tiedä, onko siitäkin 10 sitten joku päivitysversio, että voiko olla sit vaikutusta sillä asiaan vai eikö ole, en osaa sanoa, mutta testaa sitä, että kirjaudut ulos ja tuut uudestaan, niin jos se auttaisi. Jes, kiitos. Ja mukavaa päivää. Joo, kiitos samoin. Moi.
No se oli totta. Tässä on toiminut paremmin, mutta noin Poken tiimi on ihan...
Anteeksi, oliko tämä eilenkö tämä tapahtui? Eilenkö tämä tapahtui?
Juu, eilen oli siellä.
Joo, siinä oli joku hässäkkä, mutta ei se ulospäin näyttänyt miltään oikeastaan minkäänlaista häiriötä ollut. Aika hienosti, tai todella hienosti hoiditte sen kyllä homman taustalla, että meni hienosti.
Se johtuu siitä...
Joo, siellä jossain vaiheessa tuli vaan raportteja, että questillä kaikki kaatuu heti, kun tulee sisälle, niin saatiin siinä suht nopeasti kuitenkin fiksattua.
Kyllä.
Ja sitten mä kuitenkin aina joskus onnistuin pääsee sinne ja silloin toimi kaikki kyllä ihan normaalisti. Mutta joo, se oli vähän semmoista sekoilua. Mutta kävitkö siellä oopperan tiloissa? No, se oli siis, kun mä kävin, joku sanoi mulle, että Ari Lynin metsä on tosi hieno. Ja mä kävin katsoa sitä ja sitten mä kysyin niiltä, että mihin missä kannattaisi käydä, niin ne sanoivat, että ainakin ne oopperan tilat on tosi hienot. Ja se oli kyllä jotenkin niin kuin tosi semmoinen rauhoittava ja vaikuttava tila samaan aikaan.
Okei. No joo, itse asiassa ne oli siellä toisessa eventissä, oli se niin verkostoitumistapahtumassa. Vai? Joo, no mulla jäi sitten tämmöistä kokonaan.
No kun siellä oli tavallaan pääsy niihin demospaceihin, siellä oli niinku portaalit siellä jossakin siellä paviljonissa, siellä alakerrassa. Niin siellä oli linkit niihin. Joo, mä kuulin, kun...
Itse asiassa niin suurimman osa ajasta niin se pyöri vaan YouTubesta striimiä muita hommia ja välillä kuuntelin.
No kato, kun mulla oli sama, mutta sitten se mun osallistuminen meni niin, että mä en päässyt sinne varsinaiseen tapahtumaan, kun mä lensin sieltä pihalle. Ja sitten mä päädyin ton niinku Popular Events, niin sen kautta taas sitten tonne jonkun demotilaan. Ja sitten sieltä mä päätyisin niinku eteenpäin, kun mä kysyin aina, että mihin kannattaisi mennä. Niin se tapahtuma oli pikkusen silleen vaikea hahmottaa. Mutta mä yritän katsoa kelloa, mutta mitenhän mä sitä näin näen. Mä taidan ottaa hetkeksi lasit pois päästä. No nimittäin alkaa.
Mä ajattelin, mä lähdin käyttämään kahvia tässä.
Joo, mä käyn kanssa. Mä käyn vähän kato koiria ja mä tuun sitten koneella tai tällä. Mut hei, kiva, että pääsit paikalle.
Joo, ainakin.
Viimein meidänkin logo tonne seinälle.
Missä pyydettiin niin kuin covid-ajasta tavallaan tämmöisiä kuvauksia tai jotain.
On tuolla toi violetti raita, tuo pienempi tuolla pokeja. Joo, kato, ei täällä ollut aikaisemmin.
Ja me pistettiin sitten paperi siitä menee, me kirjoitettiin se Ilona ja Häkkisen Päivin kanssa niin tästä EDUXRstä viime keväänä.
No niin, mutta hei, nähdään. Ootko sä loppuiltapäivänkin? Onko se kuuntelee Heikki Salo?
Eikä kun me on laitettu vaan paperi, siis abstract. Ja nyt pyydetään kirjoittaa
Joo,
sitä.
no kuueltaan Heikki Salo ja sitten muuta musiikkia ei olekaan, kun YouTuben videoita ei pysty enää soittaa täällä. Niin mutta se kantsii tulla katsomaan, kun se on livenä oikeesti.
Ja yhtenä aiheena siellä muun muassa
Joo.
EDUXR.
No niin, moikka.
Hyvä, moi.
Ja mä mietin siellä, meillä oli niitä palautteita.
Mä en tiedä mistähän se johtuu. Kato, kun silloin kun mä tulin tänne paikalle niin ja mä yritin silloin puhua sulle siinä heti, niin sitten mä vasta huomasin, että mulla oli mikrofoni tai tämä kuulokkeiden johto irti. Ja mä laitoin sen takaisin ja se ei varmaan sitten pystynyt sitä enää tunnistamaan. Että se jollain tavalla sitten ei niinku se ei auttanut, vaikka se laittoi sitten jälkikäteen päälle. Niin nyt vissiin auttoi, kun kirjautui uudestaan.
No ei siinä ollut mitään siis tiettyä sivumäärää siinä kokoneeseen. Se on siis kirjaan tuleva juttu. Joo. Onko
se ollut täällä?
Katos, morjens täällä. Ihan siis kysymys vaan kuuluu, että haluaisitko olla mukana siinä kirjoittamassa ja mikä on aikataulu, että yritetäänkö ylipäätään puskea sitä, että ajattelin, että mä kysyn sitten Siljalta, mutta Siljalta on jo kysellyt kanssa siihen.
Eikö se ole? Mun mielestä se on ollut nyt ainakin lähellä täyttä kuuta.
Jos me saataisiin semmoinen niin napakka porukka siihen kasaan, niin ettei se kävisi niin kuin kellekään.
Hoitaisi tykittämisellä.
Niin. Ja mä en tiedä oikein sitä arviointia eikä muutakaan.
Mulla ajatuksia kyllä on sillä tavalla, että meillä on ollut täällä näin, niin meillä on yhden kurssin oppilaita muun muassa, mitä mä haastattelin, VR:n ydinhyödyt. Ja niistä mulla on valmiiksi vähän pohdittuja juttuja. Ja mä tällä hetkellä, itse mulla on parikin paperia nyt, mitä mä kirjoitan. Mulla on kanssa aika napakat noin napakasti hommaa. Mut sitten jos siellä olisi joku doktori netissä, mitä voi työstää itse asiassa auki.
Niin, joo, kyllä se mullakin on ihan sama. Kesällähän mä nukun aina, mulla on aina niinku silmälaput silmillä, että mä en kestä sitä valoisuutta yhtään. Että...
Viestiä silleen se pitäisi tämä ajatus, että siinä voisi olla.
Niin, se voi olla, että siinä on jotakin sellaista fysikaalista sitten, mitä se vaikeuttaa. nyt on ihan todellakin tämmöistä
periaatteessa tilaa voidaan käyttää muita tapahtumia ja
sitä olisi varmaan kotoa äsken.
haluaa esitellä heidän
Niin,
tiloja tai
ei,
isompaa
jaa,
tilaa. Kaikki on periaatteessa valmiina.
Joo, ja mahtavaa juttu. Ja hyvä, että se löytyy sellainen joku tällainen nimenomaan tuollainen yksi iso tila, missä voi olla mahdollisuus laittaa sitä vaikka paljon teleporttia.
Joo. Ja
Joo,
sitten se on niinku case
se on
EDUXR 2.0.
niin tarkoitus, että ne on siellä ja sitten niitä voidaan lisätä sitä mukaan, kun tulee kiinnostuneita uusia kumppaneita, niin pistetään lisää teleportteja sinne maailmaan pystyyn vaan. Ja tuossa meni ihan hyvin, että tyyliin tänä aamulla tuli jo uusia kysymyksiä, että halutaan tulla ensi vuonna tapahtumaan mukaan, niin toivottavasti siellä olisi vielä enemmän.
Niin, että teillä oli niin sanotusti valmis ratkaisu jo siinä, että hei, lähettäkää meille teleportti jo nyt. Ja voidaan jo nyt jo laittaa teille.
No periaatteessa joo, että me ollaan periaatteessa lainataan tilaa niin muihin tapahtumiin tässä sillä välin, että tuossa niinku Finnish Design Academylla on tapahtuma siellä ensi viikolla.
Hei, mä laitan sen linkin sulle, koska mä oon Juhalta saanut sen linkin.
Niin täällä kun mä en oo yhtään kahtunut, mä oon tässä auditoriossa ollut täällä, niin tuolla on jotakin tuolla.
Jossain vaiheessa tapahtuma meidän tilassa, niin voidaan sitten saada sellainen hyödynnettävää, että ei ole turhaa työtä, että mahdollisimman paljon käyttöä vaan.
Mäpä käyn vähän kahtunut.
Se on vielä jotenkin niin yksinkertaisesti tehdä tapahtuma, se ei ole kuin uusi instanssi vaan ja sitten antaa vähän oikeuksia, niin pääsisi niin periaatteessa luomaan siitä vähän niin omanlaisensa siitä.
Aika paljon tuli nyt siitä, että mitä se korona tekee. Mä tosin mun omasta esityksestä käyn vähän sitä läpi, että mitä se korona niin tällä hetkellä tekee. Etätyövälineet miten kunnolla toimi.
Seamkilla on tosiaan siinä luotiin tuo, siinä otettiin vähän niin kuin kopioa fyysistä tilasta, eli siinä kaksi lasipalatsia ja sitten siinä on toinen tila, niin siitä sellainen esitystila sitten. Ja nyt siitä tavallaan niin kuin siihen löytyy niin paljon vaihtoehtoja, mitä kaikkea siitä se vähän sitten.
Joo, mä sitä kävinkin katsomassa, se oli ihan tyylikkään näköinen.
Joo, siinähän me tietyllä tavalla painitaan sen kanssa, että halutaanko tehdä sen näköistä kuin se oikeasti on, vai halutaanko tehdä niin sanotusti jollain tavalla parempaa, että esimerkiksi siinä on se näyttökin, niin se ei voi olla kovin iso, kun se itse tila ei ole kovin iso. Se tulee ne oikeat rajoitteet siinä sitten. Siinä tilanteessa, siinä tilassa on yritetty, että se on realistisesti.
Joo. Oletteko te miettinyt, voiko sitä laajentaa siitä niin kuin enemmän? Siinä oli vain pari huonetta avoinna, että jos siihen mallintaa niin lisää rakennusta.
Joo, se ei ollut kuin se template ei ollut kuin sen 27 megaa. Siinä on vielä kyllä mahdollisuus sitä laajentaa sitten, jos vaan mallintajalla on aikaa. Mutta voi olla, että sitten niin luodahan, siinähän esimerkiksi siinä on auditorio, mikä on sitten vähän samantyyppinen kuin teillä on se tämä amfiteatteri, niin se on niin kuin tarkoitettu sellaisille esityksille, niin ehkä se on sitten voisi olla parempi tila tietyllä tavalla mallintaa.
Joo.
Teilläkin oli hienosti siinä teidän amfiteatterissa, niin te olette jo huomioinut sen, että tavallaan siinä on tasoja, että kukaan ei ole kenenkään edessä ja sitten se just tosi iso näyttö ja hyvin olette miettinyt sitä kyllä sitä tilaa.
Mä tuossa jo kirjauduin kerran ulos ja uudestaan tänne AltspaceVR:iin, koska mulla on joku pulma tässä yhteydessä. Mä en esimerkiksi nähnyt äsken ketään kavereita, enkä päässyt esimerkiksi sinne Poken maailmaan ollenkaan. Mä näen tuossa lavalla vaan semmosen
kameroita, jotka kuvasi periaatteessa puhujaa, niin mitenkään järkevästi näkymään.
Okei.
Mä näin tuossa Jukkaakin, niin Jukka sanoi, että se kuulostaa siltä, että voi liittyä mun nettiyhteyteen, että ei ole tarpeeksi vahva yhteys, ja mä vaihdoin jo tuosta meidän kotiverkosta tuohon työpaikan puhelimeen, laitoin jakamaan nettiä ja menin sillä, mutta ei se korjaantunut. Ja mä en esimerkiksi pysty merkkaamaan paikkoja suosikiksi, ja tässä on niinku paljon sellaista, että ihan hyvä, että Igorilla ei ollut aikaa, koska mä en olisi pystynyt sitä kierrättämään enkä esittelemään mitään, kun mä en pääse itse mihinkään tästä.
Igor sain tosissaan niin, se on tani
missä kohtaa menee jotain rajaa, todennäköisesti siinä jossain kohtaa voi tulla jotain
Mä luulin ensin, että tuosta olisi päässyt läpi West-käyttäjä ei mitenkään tuosta.
Mä kuulin tuossa äsken, kun joku muukin yleisöstä sanoi sille Memmulle tai kuka siinä olikaan yksi näitä järjestäjiä, niin sanoi, että hän ei nähnyt näitä dioja. Eli on niinku muillakin ollut probleemaa.
Joo, sitä on valitettavasti näissä, niin täytyy vähän selvittää, että mistä se Joo, siis on kuullut Italiasta, Sloveniasta on kanssa niillä on semmoinen viesaa hengen koulu, missä ne sitten tämmöisiä niin kuin kauneusala.
Joo, ne oli varmaan myöskin yritti ajatella sillä tavalla, että voi olla jossain niin, että saa varmasti paikan sitten ollaan joossa.
Tällä hetkellä niin 5 koulua, minkä kanssa ne tekee niin Erasmus-yhteistyötä. Ja ylipäätään
me pidettiin sitten opetusteknologiapäivä tuolla, niin me oltiin sinne tosiaan me päätettiin tehtiin se valinta siinä vaiheessa, että me ei käydä kontrollia videoteknologiasta.
Ja se tosissaan siitä tablettijumpasta niin innostunut.
Joo, siinä ehkä just tuli periaatteessa, jos oli kuissu siellä ja yrittänyt päästä sinne, ja sitten oppineita pääsikään sisään, niin aikaisemmin mä katsoin siinä.
Hei, Perki on taina.
Laskari käynnissä, mikä laski uniikkeja käyttäjiä.
Moi! Takkaamassa hiukan, mutta nyt tulin tänne takaisin, niin ei vaan. Tää on niin kiinnostavaa.
Täällä on kokeilaisten kokoontuminen tässä.
Tiedätkö mitä on? Tuli vaan nyt mieleen.
Mä jotenkin niinku haaveilen semmoista, että sais ruveta opettamaan niinku ihan silleen, että sais tosissaan niinku tykätä asiaa tuonne kansainvälisestikin eettariin, että mulla on tuossa yhden lampurin kanssa, joka rupeaa opiskelemaan, niin ollaan vähän mietitty sellaista Green Care-opetuskokonaisuutta, että saataisiin tehtyä ihan siis sellaista, että kuvattaisiin sieltä lampulasta ja lampaiden käyttäytymistä avattaisiin ja kaikkia niitä keinoja, että millä tavalla voidaan toimia ja muuta. Ja sitten tämä lampuri, hän on niin kuin meille tulossa aikuisopiskelijaksi ja hyvin kiinnostunut niin itse siitä asiasta. Ja sitten hän on niin kuin valmis kanssa olisi tekemään ihan niin kuin vaikka englanniksikin myös materiaalia ja kaikkia. Niin mä näen jotenkin semmoisen hyvin mielenkiintoisen kuvion tässä nyt. Vaan saisi sen nyt sitten jotenkin käyntiin, että jotakin haasteita tässä nyt on matkan varrella, mutta laitteita on paljon tilaukseen, että katsotaan nyt sitten mitä se talousjohtajat sanoo, että vielä ei ole saanut tietoa,
taisi olla hikinen aamu siinä
miten meidän käy.
No joo, Riitan kanssa ylipäätään soitin niistä laiteinvestoinneista.
Paineita siihen, kun kaikki tyhjeni.
Joo,
se on viemässä niitä kaikkia eteenpäin.
Meillä tuli AltspaceVR:n päässä tuli niinku ongelmia. Meillä
oli
Miljelle kuukausi, että lähetettiin heille, niin leikattiin ketit, että tarvitaan se front row sinne käyttöön.
Joo.
Sitten jossain vaiheessa niin sovittiin myöskin, että nostetaan meidän maksimikäyttäjä rajaa 60. Ja ilmeisesti siellä oli sitten tullut joku että ne oli ajatellut,
kyllä mulla niinku intoa löytyy, että niinku huomasin, no Pekka sinä varsinkin just, että mulla on vaan vielä vähän tämmöistä taitamattomuutta ja kokemattomuutta, mutta sitten kyllä mä huomaan, että aina kun vaan plärää sinnikkäästi, niin kyllä täällä niinku rupeaa osaamaan niinku toimia, kun vaan oppii.
Ja mä haluaisin niinku Miljalle ja Tainolle teitä niinku yhdistää sitten siinä, että jos niinku ajatellaan jotain aistimuuden kanssa, niin ylipäätään, jos nyt ajatellaan niinku tämmöisiä kriiseriä ja tavallaan sitä hyvinvointia.
Nyt muutaman kerran
mun mielestä sitä voitaisiin niinku erinäköisessä ympäristössä testaa. Tuossa eilen ponkasin niin tosi hyvän
edellisenä iltana se oli paremman näköinen kuin mitä itse tapahtuman aikana.
Kyllä niitä ei nyt tule millään yltäyksellä tullut.
Me kanssa ajateltiin, että me olisi tehty tämä niinku seminaarisali, tuossa Pokella on semmoinen seminaarisali ja ajateltiin, että olisi avattu sen tilaisuudessa, mutta just sen käyttäjämäärän vuoksi niin me käytiin nyt tällä vanhalla ihan, tässä oli 80 käyttäjämäärä ja se jää 80 ja sitten front row siihen päälle, niin on silleen niinku, ei tarvitse murehtia sitä asiaa, mutta ne on tehnyt semmoisen päätöksen, että mihinkään omaa maailmaa ei saa yli 30 me kanssa sitä kyseltiin, että olisi saatu niinku käyttäjämäärän nosto, mutta kävijämäärän nosto, mutta ei.
Kyllä, ja vähitellen osaamisen kautta sitä semmoista varmuutta sitten kokeilla kaikkea huomaa, että ei tässä niinku,
omissa maailmoissa.
että ei se haittaa, vaikka ei aina toimi kaikki täydellisesti tai osaa välttämättä aina niinku mennä just oikein, koska täällä on turvallista erehtyä ja turvallista tehdä niin kuin vaikka jotain pöllöäkin, että ei se haittaa.
Kysykää vastaavana. Niin, aivan.
Mä oon huomannut,
Mäkin sekoitin niin kertaa, mulla itselläni katkesi netti 3 kertaa, mä kävin vielä tuolla lavalla. Mä tipahin sieltä niinku pois, että se ei oo niinku, tää on kaikki
innovaatioviikkohan oli
joo, sori.
no mä olin jotain muuta sanomassa, mutta kyllä mullakin kävi sillä lailla, että mä tuossa justiin kun tää oli alkamassa, niin mä huomasin, että mun piti painaa eskiä, kun mä tein tietysti opettajana 2 hommaa yhtä aikaa, niin mä painoin vahingossa koneen pois päältä. Heitin itseni pihalle, mutta äkkiä pääsin tänne takaisin, mulla oli vaan kirjoitusohjelmia ensin. Niin sitten ei ollutkaan mitään ongelmia enää toisella kertaa, että tuli lisää harjoitusta. Mutta niin kuin tuosta äskeisestä, kun puhuttiin noista niin aistihuoneista ja kaikista, niin mun mielestä tässä niin kuin koko ajan herää aina sellaisia uusia asioita, mitä voisi hyödyntää niin kuin tässä ympäristössä ja tämän tyyppisessä ympäristössä. Että musta esimerkiksi tuntui siltä, että tuolla meidän siellä metsäympäristössä on helppo lähestyä toista ihmistä. Mä uskon, että opiskelijoidenkin on helppo kysyä niin kuin tämmöisessä. Paljon helpompi tulla kysymään tämmöisenä avatarhahmona, jos olet ujokin, kuin jos taas sit puolesta, kun sä vaan opit tätä käyttämään tätä välinettä, niin mä uskon, että se niin kuin silleen ratkaisee niin kuin joidenkin semmoisia lähestymisongelmia ja tämmöisiäkin niin aika lailla. Itsekin on vähän ujo puhumaan joillekin ihmisille, niin sitten tää on helpottanut hirveästi.
Joo, totta. Ja nyt oli Keskisuomalaisessa oli justiin uutinen, olikohan eilinen vai toissapäivän lehti, niin oli näitä niin kuin opiskelijoiden näkökulmaa ja tilannetta huomioitu siinä tämän koronankin takia, että kuinka yksinäisiä ne on. Uudet opiskelijat, ne muuttaa esimerkiksi Jyväskylän seudulle, tai no siinä se koski niin kuin korkeakouluopiskelijoita ja puhuttiin jyväskyläläistä, mutta koskeehan se meidänkin opiskelijoita, että ollaan hirveän yksi. Niin ehkä tämmöinen voi vähän täyttää sitä sen tyyppistä niin kuin sosiaalista tyhjyyttä, mitä on ehkä nyt riskinä monen elämässä.
Onneksi on 2
Joo. Tänä aamuna mä olin toisessa semmoisessa tilaisuudessa hetken aikaa aamulla ihan vahingossa. Eli menin tämmöiseen live-streamiin, mikä tuli tuolta Lanka-myymälästä. Tuli semmoinen ohjeistus, missä ne opetteli tekemään semmoisia hienoja seinävaatteita solmimalla. Ja sit sä saat siinä niinku kysyä samalla, kun sä katot, kun he kertoo, niin he vastaas niihin kysymyksiin. Niin mä olin tuossa ruokamessuilla, niin tuli just tuolta Lampulasta, mistä äsken puhuin. Niin tuli sieltä tämmönen live-striimi ja sain lähettää sinne niinku viestillä kysymyksiä ja ne puhelimella niinku pukkahti tämän ihmisen, joka esitteli Lampulaansa ja paikkaansa, ne pukkahti ne kysymykset esille. Ja se oli ihan siis sellainen, että mulle tuli ihan semmoinen olo oikeasti, että mä olin siellä paikan päällä ja tuli lämmin ja hyvä olo ja sitten saatiin jäljestäkäsin vielä sitä Lampurin kanssa keskustella sitten asiasta, kun se virallinen niinku yleisötilaisuus oli ohjelmassa. Et ne on nyt vähän tämmöisiä samantyyppisiä.
Heikki Salo ja
kyllä.
Mietin tätä niin opetuksessakin, niin jännä, että panisi tunnit. Silloin on tunti ja sitten saa kysyä.
Mäkin olen vähän kiertelemässä tuolla noin.
Totta. Teamsissa on välillä niin hankalaa, mäkin pidän jonkun verran opetusta ja ohjauksia Teamsin kautta, että jos on niinku yhtään enempää jäseniä, niin
sivussa, kun
tuntuu, että melkein kaikki on niinku hiljaa ja videot on pois päältä ja mä en saa niinku mitään resursseja sitten siitä, että miten he niinku kokee sen asian tai mitä siitä ajatuksia herää tai nousee jotain kysymyksiä, että ehkä tämmönen voisi olla se, että saa niinku edes jotain sitten niinku sieltä
kanssa, niin varmaan ottaa innovaatioita tai Eki Universal, se lähti se kierteli tuolla äsken jossain.
Ja sitten se, että se oikein pystyy se vuorovaikutus. Niin se on vasta... Se Teamsissa helposti se vuorovaikutus vähän niin kuin unohtuu. Tulee vähän semmoinen niin kuin kaadan sinne tietoa. Kauhean helposti ainakin ja sitten miettii, että...
Me tosiaan Poke lähti äsken näyttää meille sitä, kun me oltiin tuolla jossain campfirein äärellä ja katsoi jotain traktoreita sun muita, niin
se aktivoiminen siellä Teamsissa ei ole ehkä niin helppo. Tässä voisi olla helpompi aktivoida.
Arttu, pääsit sä sinne messuosastolle?
Vaikka jos niinku tavallaan esimerkiksi jos on tämmöinen joku toimintaympäristö
Latautuuko se?
niin sitten niinku tavallaan viiä vaikka ne sinne, että lähdetäänpä sinne vaikka jonnekin metsään, ja sit sieltä jos olisi vaikka semmoinen live-stream sieltä metsästä jotain asiaa, jota voi opetella, ja sitten palataanpa sinne saliin, ja sitten tulisi porukka sinne saliin, ja sitten jatkaisi sitten tavallaan sitten avatarhahmona siitä eteenpäin. Tai mä en tiedä, miten se niinku käytännössä menisi, mutta kyllä tässä varmaan mahdollisuuksia hirveän moneen.
Ehkä se myöhemmin.
Sehän voi olla vaikka jossain.
Ehkä ne myöhemmin voi esitellä. Mä en tiedä, onko teillä miten tänään, mutta voisi yrittää vähän illallakin osallistua.
Tavallaan yhdistelisi näitä erilaisia.
Kyllä mä aika ainakin kitaroin kuuntelemassa.
Sitä kai se tulevaisuus on.
Vielä, jos itse.
Niin, siis tää muuttuu tää kehitys ja koko tää tämmönen niinku tekninen maailma niin hirveän hurjaan nopeasti, että kun ajattelee, ei tarvi mennä pari sukupolvea taaksepäin, niin ihan jo lankapuhelin oli niinku ihan ihmeellinen. Sitten kun ajattelee, että miten niinku tosiaan nyt mennään jo aina yhdessä vuodessa mennään isoja harppauksia, että se kehitys on paljon nopeampaa. On kyllä jännä nähdä, että mitä kaikkea tulevaisuus tuo tullessa.
Mikä hintaisia ne on? Siis
on, ja sitten
pysyä mukana tässä kehityksessä.
Sepä juuri. Mäkin just mietin sitä, että kun mä en ole niin
Arttu, sä kävit siellä workmates 4 siellä palaverissa.
Tämähän on tämmöistä vähän tämmöistä pelillistä. Missä tulee niin avatarhahmona, niin kyllä mä käsittelen tätä niin tavallaan tämmöisenä pelillisenä
se meni ainakin siihen, että siinä on eka
varattu,
että se
lähestyy sitten sitä normia.
Konhur puhui siinä puolisen tuntia
siitä
surveysta ja sen tuloksista, ja sitten about puolelta Ahmed kävi siinä juttelemään.
Sitten taas varmaan nuorille, jotka pelaa paljon, niin tämä voi olla taas ihan että helpompi askel tavallaan toisinpäin, mitä muut.
Selviikö vartissa siitä?
Niin, kyllä. Joo, ja siis mulla on taas semmoinen tausta, että mä tykkään pelata ja mä pelailen tämmöisiä simulaatiopelejäkin melkein vieläkin.
Ei siinä ihan hirveästi tullut. Vähän siinä kyseltiin. Nyt, ainakin nyt mulla on vähän katton kännykkää, niin siinä on nyt chatin oikein paukkuun siellä jotain viestejä vielä kyllä.
Mä pystyisin näissä ympäristöissä toimimaan. Täälläkin niin kyllä kuitenkin suomen kieltäkin tosi moni käyttää ja mä ymmärrän hyvin puhuttua englantia, niin siinähän siihen harjaantuu kun vaan menee.
Joo, ja mä oon huomannut sen ralli-englannilla pärjää yllättävän hyvin.
Hyvä tietää, joo. Joo, mäkin oon käynyt siellä Tarvallassa opettamassa sitä lähihoitajaryhmää No nyt syksylläkin kävi aina pari kurssia pitämässä, mutta pääasiassa
mä tulin Officelle, täällä on parempi nettiä.
Mä oon sen ikääntyvien hoidon ja kuntoutumisen vastuuopettaja, mutta opetan muitakin näitä osaamisalaa ja nopeus.
Niin, tuosta esityksestä, niin mulla itselläni on semmoinen tuolla screenillä, näettekö työ?
Joo, nähdään. Mä näen ainakin tuon. Mä näen tuon ohjelma.
Eiköhän se Pekkakin tästä lähti.
Käykö silleen, että...
Yritin jossain vaiheessa päästä tällaiseen kokeen just siellä metsällä.
Mä mietin sitä, pitäisikö käynnistää tää tilaa uudestaan.
Mä luulen, että se johtuu joistakin PC:stä, koska samaan aikaan...
Koirat menee samaan aikaan.
Joo, se voi olla myös sillä, että jos ne, jolla ei näy, niin tulee uudestaan niin mulla ainakin eilen, kun oli se XR-match, niin siellä olikin 3 tai 4 kerralla vasta ainakin kalvot. Sitten mä niin kysyin siinä huoneessa tilassa, niin sitten koko ajan rullasi hyvin.
Aivan. Hei.
Joo, nyt on niin koira pois tuosta.
Työ vaihdatte itse nuo slaidit, eikä?
Onko mulla sinne oikeuksia?
Joo, toi on nyt 3 kuukautta vasta, että
on mulla
meillä on ollut muutama viikon. Vähän tämmöistä harjoittelua, lähdetään työn yhdistäminen.
Mä pistän Henrille oikeudet.
Mä itse taidan pystyä jo nyt vaihtamaan tosta jotain. Eli onks ne, mulla on 1/45, niin onko se millä slaidilla sitten?
Mä tulin tähän.
Ok.
Joo, tervetuloa vaan, joo. Mä tässä vähän teen samalla hommia, että voi olla tämä joka ärsykkee se.
Joo, se kyllä omat haasteet.
Joka ärsyttävyys, ei, joka ärsykkee.
Oikeaan ajankohtaan tuo
susta ei kanssa pääse eroon. Tänne yritin uppoutua.
Hei, mä pistän mikrofonin päälle ja on Eurin päälle samalla.
No niin,
Laitetaan tuo...
nyt mä laitan mikin kiinni.
Kyllä ainakin mulla lähti pyörimään.
Tää on ihan veikeä tapahtuma kyllä.
Näkyy mulla.
Eiköhän mennä lavaan.
Noniin.
Joo, mulla oli eilen tuolla Helsinki. Multa hävisi tuo musiikki, mutta täytyy kyllä
Eikö mä pistin sen pois? Laitanko mä sen jo päälle?
Joo, pistä vaan.
Emma, laitatko sä... Laitatko mä yleisesti
Joo, kun vaan tällä läpparilla ole tässä mukana, niin tää on vähän tämmöstä kömpelöä tää toiminta.
Mä laitan yleisesti.
Okei.
Okay, welcome to the presentation of Spark 2 Future Learning. Henri Pirkkalainen, Associate Professor, Tampere University, and Osku Torro, Doctoral Researcher, Tampere University. Stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. Hello everyone, it's nice to be here. Thank you EDUXR, thank you for inviting me here. This time I'm the one who's holding the presentation. Henri did this earlier. Do you, Henri, have anything to say before I'll take the stage?
No, just like welcome everyone to our session, and it's great to have so many of you here, and hopefully many more through the YouTube stream. So Osku, the stage is all yours, and I'll maybe participate more in the Q&A.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the first slide, please. Okay, today I'm going to talk about the successful VR adoption in higher education institutes. And I think the biggest points in my presentation is standalone head-mounted display. How many of you is using Oculus Quest at this point in the audience? Raise your hand. Okay, quite many. Because I think that standalone devices are the game-changing technology in VR adoption in higher education institutes. Here's the brief history of VR. At the first, and in the year 1968, there was this the Sword of Damocles, kind of a VR display system. It looks quite comfortable over there. Well, yeah, don't you think? Yeah. And after that, to 1968 and 2016, basically nothing happened. VR was crappy and expensive until 2016 Oculus Rift and HTC Vive came in. And then to 2019, the standalone head-mounted display Oculus Quest 1 came in. And 2020 Oculus Quest 2. I think this is a really big change you can see the pattern here. In the 1968 there was nothing, and 2016 nothing but Oculus Rift, and then Oculus Quest 1. You don't need any expensive PCs or there are no cables or anything. And the Oculus Quest 2 is the AI capabilities of that headset is 11 times more than in the headset year before. So this is quite big improvement, and you can see where the technology is going, and I think the institutes can actually use VR now. That wasn't you couldn't use VR in an efficient manner just a couple of years ago. There are of course many adoptions, many barriers to VR adoption yet. I'm not going to discuss them here, but our research group, Henri over there, he's researching the barriers to VR adoption, and of course our physical classrooms or office spaces, they are not meant to be used with VR yet. They are quite poor, and we need to improve. But I think the head-mounted displays like this Oculus Quest is an essential thing to have. Next slide, please. And of course, it's quality over quantity. Because in VR, our brains treat it as real. the basic idea is that we know what is happening, but our subconscious mind still is trying to figure out what is happening and what is not. And because most of the effects that we have in VR are subconscious, VR also may feel too overwhelming or uncomfortable, and poor user experiences are, poisoning the well in a sense. Because I've met many company executives who still live in the year 2017. They are using poor hardware, poor software, and they think they know what VR is about. But it's totally different now, and we are going to develop a lot from here. And what is critical is immersion. Of course, you have heard the word immersion, but next I'm going to tell you what it's actually all about. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, the first, when we discuss about immersion, the first thing is the sensory immersion, and that is all the 3D information that we acquire via our senses in VR environment. For example, this diver in here, he can feel the coldness of the water. He can see the surroundings. He can feel it, everything in conscious and also in subconscious manner. And when there's actional immersion, the environment in VR, it actually responds to our actions in a plausible manner. So this guy is able to swim actually in the water. So the VR environment is not a static place. There are plenty of interactions, and all of those interactions need to be customized, and that requires a lot of work, of course, and customizations. And actional immersion, that is of course used in skill transfer. One of the biggest pedagogical benefits of VR. You can of course train hard skills. You can train soft skills with actional immersion. For example, when a young kid is starting to learn how to walk, there's an actional immersion involved, and the same things are relevant in different VR training environments as well. So you need to build the sensory immersion, the 3D. We are humans. We like 3D. We like 3D information that makes sense. And then we have an actional immersion. The information is actually responding to our actions in a plausible manner. And then there is a symbolic and narrative immersion. This diver over here, for example, if he would see a pattern or a figure of a shark in the distance, there's not that much sensory immersion increasing. There's not that much actional immersion. But when the diver sees a shark, there's a symbolic immersion happening. Okay, you see where this is going, and there's a narrative immersion. When the diver sees just the tiny silhouette of a shark in a distance, there's a narrative immersion in his mind that, okay, now I am going to die. So even though there's not that much new information, what he sees, but you can see that sensory immersion, actional immersion, and symbolic and narrative immersion are happening at the same time. So that is an even more powerful learning experience for him. And then there's a social immersion there, as we are experiencing this in this space as well, especially those who are using the headsets. So I can see Professor Drummer Henri over there. He's staring at me and judging me, and I can see my mate Henri over there. And if you look at each other in the audience, I think these new avatars in Altspace are quite okay, don't you think? Yeah. Just take a look at your fellow over in the audience, and just look at the eyes and see what happens. There's this quite smart algorithm in these avatars, so that it actually imitates the gaze, human gaze. That is not real. That is an algorithm that is handling all the work. But in the near future, the eye tracking will do this. So we will have an actual eye contact in VR, and that will be a really powerful enhancement when it comes to our nonverbals in VR, and social immersion will be upgraded a lot. And when there's a psychological immersion, last one, it is a combination of all of these immersions. And my main point here is that immersion is not just a technical issue. It's also about the design of a VR environment and the interactions and the narratives and the symbols. And when it comes to education, we need to take account all of these, not just technical aspects, but any other forms of immersion as well. So we are able to build powerful educational experiences with enhanced psychological immersion. Okay, next slide. Yeah, social VR, my favorite topic. This is something that I researched. My thesis is all about social VR at the moment, because that is something that we really do not know much about. You know how the dynamics in VR, social VR are different if you are using video conferencing or other text-based tools, or even in face-to-face. How VR changes this. There are so many things that we do not know about yet. I think the most important content is in VR is other people, and of course, social VR is a scalable use case. If you build high quality interactions and social behaviors in VR, that is a scalable use case that any industry or any educational institute or educators can use for sure. So there's a natural 3D space and spatial sound. It's really natural. So like in the previous presentation, the brainstorming and networking with other tools, it's really not going to work. But VR is really good for this, as you all know. And avatars, they are our digital representations. The gaze, as I discussed about the gestures, hand movements, and so, and my body posture, and they foster effective turn-taking and dialogue. Unlike in video conferencing, you can actually use your body as a non-verbal tool and a display system, and that's why avatars behavioral realism is much more important than photorealism in social virtual reality. I think photorealism is quite important when building trust between familiar people, but it's still the behaviors and the facial movements and so on. That's what matters, and that's where the development is going at this point. Also in education, of course, if you engage with students in social VR, it's a behavioral realism. The many research shows that just the gaze of a teacher who is staring at the student, that increases the student's motivation and focus. Just one thing, small thing in the gaze, increases the engagement. So there's not that much distance, unlike when using other tools. Okay, next, please. Social VR. Okay. There are many new paradigms in the field of education at this point. And one of those is I'm holding a course with Prof. Drummer over there, the emerging technology in adoption and use course. We have done that 5 years now. Is it 5 years? Something like that. And there are students who are tackling open-ended problems in groups. That is something that they do. But these current technologies, they are not actually taking into account this kind of learning that well. Just like Albert Einstein said that if I had an hour to solve a problem, I would spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about the solutions. If you are an Einstein, it's perfectly fine. You just sit down and think about it. But if you are a group of students, the actual problem solving in technology-mediated interaction, it's quite difficult at this point. And research shows that the effects of COVID-19 is that innovation, creativity, information sharing, and informal communication, they are difficult to maintain via conventional remote working tools, and that's why the productivity in the long run Without the vaccine, the productivity in companies would plummet quite a lot. And you can see how this connects with modern education. If the innovating, creativity, information sharing, and informality is difficult to achieve, there are quite many connections with education as well. And this is why we are building in this kind of an XR campus, this kind of a social VR platform that tackles this particular issue at this point. We are trying to remove the bottlenecks of remote communication and collaboration with the use of social VR. Can you put the next slide, please? Okay, here it is, social VR XR campus. It's a VR platform for ECI universities. You should go over there and check the website, ecu.org. It's a consortium of 13 European universities who are building a new model for education. And one part of that model is the challenge-based learning. And in this solution, we are building these challenge rooms. These are social VR rooms, just like we are having here in AltspaceVR. But the content is persistent. We are trying to build these challenge rooms that would act like a living 3D document. So the students can come in, they can put post-it notes. They can be maybe a Kanban board, whiteboard, screen sharing, 3D videos, 3D models, and annotations. The asynchronous communication and synchronous communication and persistent content would make this space as a living 3D document that would specifically be addressed to tackle challenge-based learning. And the students would be able to build narratives and solve real-world challenges. For example, if they build content, they can take 360 videos from different part of the city, put them into the space, and maybe download the city 3D model in the same space, annotate it, and just start figuring out what's the actual problem. Just like Einstein described, you have to think about what is the actual problem and then trying to solve it. That's the main idea in the XR campus. It's going to be, and the first version of it is going to be online, I think, in the sometimes next year or so. And it's important to build shared understanding and shared focus and shared workflows. Unlike in other tools, especially the shared focus in VR is really, really, really important. That is something that makes this medium far more efficient in group works than any other tools, because you can actually see that your group member is participating. You can actually see that he or she is putting the sticky notes over there, sharing his screen, and you can actually see physically that he or she is doing something. And that is also the shared space and the co-location. That's one of the biggest things in trust building and building team cohesion and so on. And when you have a 3D information, you have narratives, you have everything. So there's a shared understanding and shared focus happening. And when you integrate these different tools and content, you have shared workflows as well. So this is builds team together and creates the cohesiveness that is lacking if you use other forms of tools. And of course, increased playfulness. If you enter the space, you have all of your memes into the wall, something that is not to be shown to outsiders. That's all all the funny stuff. That's already also there. You can maybe play basketball and whatever. And of course, the social interaction. That is something that is, really, really novel. And this is going to solve many, many problems when we develop this kind of solutions further, I think. And it's not, the basic idea is not to just substitute face-to-face communication, but enhance it. You can boost it with AI if you want, or so. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, and the fourth point in my presentation is recognizing the complexity. If you can simulate everything, okay, the basic idea in VR is that you can simulate everything. You can even use brain-computer interfaces in the future, and that is actually happening right now. You can navigate and do some basic interactions in VR with your mind. You can simulate everything. If we would have like buckets and buckets loads of money, which we don't, well, that is a problem. We need to recognize the complexity. What information should be presented? What are the interactions? Who are the individuals communicating? It's all custom made. We need to build a lot of many different solutions, pilot them, do rapid piloting, and figuring out what's the best solution in different contexts. You know, there are different layers of information for different people, and also different set of tools and interactions for different people. So the educational VR is also, you know, custom. Yeah, so, and it's really expensive to build at this point. And if you put in more details, the cost will grow, and that scalability is not that good anymore. So this is the really big challenge. So we need to you know, tackle this in cross-disciplinary context, you know. And the next slide, please. Yeah, and that's why we need to recognize the general pedagogical benefits of VR. As I described before, the immersions, they are only just scratching the surface. We need to figure out how to you know, acquire knowledge when you are using, for example, memory palaces in VR. How to actually boost your cognitive functionalities in VR. And that's also context dependent. Or if you are an 8-year-old kid, or if you are a professor, there's a you know, different use cases in VR. But if you are only focusing on the use cases, you are not going to learn much. That's why you need to recognize the general pedagogical benefits of VR and then build upon that. Yeah. Okay, and that's why cross-disciplinary collaboration is crucial. And my field and Prof. Drummers and Professor Henri Pirkkalainen, we are in the field of information system science. We are in the pretty cool field to tackling these kind of problems, because we study social technical aspects of technology and organizations. So we need to understand both technology, and we need to understand people. And we need to do that in a cross-disciplinary context. So we need to discuss with educators, we need to build pilots and build slowly bottom up, and when experimenting with pedagogical VR. Okay, that was about that. And thank you. Do you have any questions at this point?
Okay.
I'll accept the friend requests.
I'm opening the microphones, so you can ask freely. I think Osku and Henri will understand Finnish language also, if you want to ask in
barely
in Finnish too. So feel free to ask.
I have a question over here in that corner.
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah.
Hey, yeah, I'm in Turkey right now in the military, and we're using this things like this for meetings because we can't get together because of COVID, but we're all over the country.
Yeah.
And this is more of a technical. What is the program you use to show slides, and is there other companies you recommend we work with if you're using AltspaceVR that's compatible with what you have here? Thanks.
Well, I think the AltspaceVR at this point, in the near future, you can share your screen in AltspaceVR. It's not working at this point, and you can also upload presentations and use browser. But at this point, this is a lot like using a sticky tape kind of a solution. This is quite clumsy at this point, but there's going to be a lot of evolvements happening in the near future.
I tried to do a PowerPoint in a different program, couldn't do it, so I had to upload the PowerPoint as a video to YouTube and show the YouTube and hit pause. You know, we just kind of hack it until the technology catches up to.
Yeah, and this it shouldn't be that difficult. And these are something critical point. Yeah. In the future, I think most of these social VR applications are able to, you know, handle the content from the web just like that. So we are just in this phase that nothing is really working how it should be, but I think this is not going to be an issue in a year or two anymore.
Okay, thank you.
I agree, and actually we have been doing some testing with OBS and YouTube, and we are YouTube streams. You can stream your desktop to the AltspaceVR, but I think it's need a lot of tricks. It's not like Teams or Zoom.
Yeah.
That was a good question. How about others?
I got a question.
Oh yeah, please.
How does AltspaceVR, in your experience, compare with others like Engage or Mozilla Hubs? I don't know if you've tried any of these, but I mean, because sometimes I like AltspaceVR and sometimes I don't. It seems the goalposts are always changing. You know?
Yeah. AltspaceVR is great for networking, but it is not great for brainstorming or group collaboration. You know, there are many tools for that as well. For example, Immersal or there are also quite a lot of software that are available if you pay a lot of money. It's all there if you have money, but this free software it cannot handle we don't have the tools for yet.
When you say if you have the money, which example software would you mean? Like,
for example, Glue, that's a Finnish company. If you check that, that's quite good.
I was wondering actually. I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, the up. Yeah. The top is Glue and the down it's Engage, I think. Yeah. Engage is available. Yeah, Engage is available for Oculus Quest at this point. You could check that out as well.
Yeah, recently. Yeah, it used to be SideQuest. Recently, they moved to the main store. I noticed.
Yeah. But I really like the avatars here. Yeah, more.
Yeah. Limitations also in terms of functionalities in certain software, and for example, in Engage when we had 30-minute like working sessions with our group. The good thing was to use notes and whiteboarding, but the downside was that people were getting nauseous. At least 6 months ago, but I noticed that they have a new version, so we're actually going to try that now. And also something that I planned for our next project, like team meeting, was to try out spatial more in detail. I've been exploring a bit for my own purposes, but I think for team meetings, usually AltspaceVR is enough when it's more about communication and some sense making. But as soon as you start to actually need to take any kind of a notes or similar, that's when we turn usually to other social VR applications.
Yeah, and you really should be able to download 3D models and annotate them and build the 3D space as a 3D document. So it's all there ready when you come in, and you can work with the information, brainstorm, put notes, and when you go out and come back after a week or so, it's still there. You can continue from that. So the iteration in brainstorming and group work, it's far more efficient at that, and when you have those available.
Yeah, there does seem to be a clash between like collaboration tools and, like you say, networking. And like some are better for collaboration, but some of them, when you start to add lots of people, like they have performance issues. AltspaceVR isn't bad compared to most.
Yeah. This is about networking and events. And for example, Oculus Venues is about events and watching media together or some. Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, many tools. But if you want to build good educational VR, you need to build some of it on your own to customize it, and it costs a lot. Yeah.
And if you're interested in just comparing some of those tools, we have already done for this VR Insight project that we were actually describing more in our previous presentation half a year ago. But if you want to have a look a bit on the just compare the features and similar, so it's VR Insight.
Okay.
How was the address again? But VR Insight, just Google it. It's a European project where we did a bit of a checking what kind of applications there are for different purposes, and so if that might be recommended.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions? Because we haven't even scratched the pedagogy of VR in this presentation, and that is something that we study at this point. And I would like to hear some, there aren't any silly questions or too complex questions. Ask anything.
Can I ask something?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you. I heard that look at somebody, it's more better. It's better when you are teaching, for example. And I thought that my face is a little bit angry, looking angry usually because of my face. So I think this is this kind of teaching can make people so that they don't know each other so well, so they are not afraid of other people so much, and maybe they can use some other names if you are not so I forgot the no, jos on ujo esimerkiksi, shy. If you are shy, so you can use this kind of playing method.
Indeed.
Is there a research of that?
Well, that is something that is really connects with my research. I study social VR and the dynamics, how it changes the dynamics. And that's interesting in VR. You have a rich face-to-face collaboration here, but in a sense you are still a little bit shielded. You are shielding your true identity. So the self-disclosure in VR, it might be a little bit easier to describe and discuss different topics in VR than in face-to-face communication even. That's just like in between the text, writing and meeting each other face-to-face. That is in the middle. And the self-disclosure, it's possible that it will increase in avatar-based interaction. And if you are having a, you can also fake the communication processes. If you are engaging a student or engaging a colleague, I could put an algorithm on my face that's at this point I'm smiling. My face, as you see, I'm smiling at this point. But maybe I'm not smiling this much here in my office at this point. Because the algorithm does it, and you can fake the smile, for example. That's one example of a non-verbal communication smile. And there are studies that fake smile affects people in VR just like a real smile. Even though people know that it is fake, they are in the better mood when the avatar is smiling, even though the people are not. So you can actually play with these ideas quite a lot in VR. And that I will think that's something that connects with education as well. It's really powerful tool, I think.
One other thing that Osku was telling me a while ago is that there already have been, studies on looking into like the size of the avatars as well. So like when you're in a presentation situation, the size and looks of your avatars will also affect your behavior. So you will perform differently depending also on what kind of avatar you are. And you can just think about putting maybe a shy person to put up a presentation, but also like doing the scene in a way that the presenter is quite like maybe 3 times bigger than all the rest, and the rest are kind of a really small people in the audience.
If you would be if you would be, for example, the gnomes like this, and I would be a giant, it would be a different situation in public speaking, for sure. And it has been studied, for example, that shy persons they prefer an avatar that does not look as much as their real selves. So they prefer the avatar that is a little bit different, and then it's easier for them to talk. And this is also one field of research that is quite interesting, I think.
Is there a possibility to put your finger to a tap, which now I want to smile, and now I want to do something or something?
Oh yeah, they're going to be this. We have these emojis over there. It could be also my facial if I affects my facial expressions, not just seeing all those emojis flying. You could also do that, yeah.
And you could also insert brain-computer interface in your head in the near future that actually reads your emotions and displays them on your avatar. So it's also some future scenario when that is possible, and there's no limitations.
Okay, I think let's have an applause for Henri and Osku, and after
maybe we have the selfie.
For sure.
Okay.
Shall I join?
Oh yeah, sure. That was the point. Yeah. Okay. Thank you everyone.
Thank you. And after 30 minutes, we will have our next keynote. And this was an excellent keynote about learning. And the next one is future workmates, and I really want to see them. And during this half an hour, you can visit other spaces and mingle with the people. At the right back of this room, there's a portals to different places, and you will meet interesting peoples. And enjoy your stay here. Thank you.
Terve. Morjes.
No niin, nyt en pudonnut
Laitoin teille molemmille äsken sähköpostilla, ja vai jos jonkunnäköistä yhteistyötä mahdollisesti löytyisi jatkossa.
Mä yritin saada Henrille ääniä, mutta se oli niin lähellä mikkiä, että se ei antanut mun antaa Henrille voimistaa ääniä koko ajaksi.
Aivan.
Okei.
Eli se, jos on mikin lähellä, niin se vie hostuusista oikeudet antaa mikki käyttöön. Tai siis toi amplify. Huomasin tossa. Joo. Nyt pitää katsoa silleen, että ei ole niin lähellä mikkiä. Mä mietin, että tästä noita mikkiä luettaa, siis tosi hitaasti kerkee katsoa tuossa listasta, kenen pyytää puheeseen, vaan sieltä sivusta ei mennään. Ei pysty antaa megafonia.
Ne ei käytä muuta kuin social media.
Edestä varmaan näkee paremmin.
Niin me vähän myös opitaan niiden vanavedessä nyt näistä hyvistä sovelluksista. Mutta kuulostaa oikein
hyvältä.
Joo,
musta se voisi ihan ottaa tolleen mikistä käyttöön tuossa viimeisessä puheenvuorossa, joku ottaa sen kästeen ja käy juoksemaan. Ei se ole hauska.
Joo.
Mulla loppu tuo Quest 2 liittyy tähän PC.
No tää on ongelma. Meillä oli nyt viime kurssilla se, mikä nyt loppu.
is Spot 3 Future Workmates, and we have here Yle Innovations, Wesa Aapro, Satu Ketola, Jari Lahti, and Jouni Frilander, and the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. Hi, all you guys. As he said, my name is Satu Keto, not the little Ketola, and I'm from Yleisradio, the Finnish broadcasting company, and I work there in technology and development unit, and more specific in Yle Innovations team, and we are the Yle Innovations team. Jouni is somewhere there watching. I can spot on him there. Hi. And for starters, I would like you to think properly and answer in your heads my question that is coming. Think about the last 8 past months and think all the times that you have been opening your laptop and opening the app that you use when you are connecting with your teammates or workmates. Is it Hangouts or Teams or Meet or whatsoever? And every time, maybe in the beginning, early in the morning or later in the afternoon, when you open your laptop and Meets, and then what happens? This is there. And my question is, has it ever come to your mind the same question? How lovely it would be if it would be possible to program and invent your own teammates and make them be that kind that you really want them to be. Well, when they asked us to talk about future workmates, of course we started for real and seriously. We were pondering what it will be when the code snippets or robots or algorithms or bots are a part of our working community. What kind of effect it will be having on us, and what does it do with our working communities? And the fun thing is that we have come forward from the question, is the robots going to steal our jobs or our work, to the next question. How do we want to interact with workmates that are not in flesh and blood, who are like codes or algorithms or maybe synthetic personas? And in the later on, my colleagues will tell in which direction our scenarios have been going on. But at first, I want to look backwards from today to yesterday. Because of course, as we are a media house, we have been working with that kind of non-flesh and blood working mates a long time. And I want to introduce to you some of them. And the first one that I want to introduce to you is Voitto, the robot that is working with the Yle News Lab and Yle News. And now this is dead serious, interesting. Does it work this way? Or could you please put the Voitto video on the back end, please? Because, yeah, great.
Yle's newsroom never sleeps. Journalists work around the clock every day. One of the employees is Yle's own robo-journalist Voitto. Voitto was born when Yle News Lab wanted to see if a robot could write news. And Voitto sure could. At first, Voitto wrote articles about ice hockey and football. Next, Voitto started to work on political journalism. He started to observe what members of parliament were saying and doing. This is what our robot Voitto does every day, and he continues to get smarter and cover even more topics. This will give our human journalists more time to create more detailed investigative journalism for you, our readers.
And Voitto do look like a proper robot and look like a proper future working mate, but we do have some other kinds of working mates as well, and teams that fit in your pocket. And the next one is our mobile journalism video. Could you please put that on as well?
Yle operates in more than 20 regional newsrooms around Finland. The distances are vast, but Yle aims to be where people are in their daily lives. Our vision is to increase the use of lightweight devices and mobile production methods to reach this goal. Yle has developed the skills, workflows, and tool sets needed for mobile journalism over several years.
Yeah, something happened. Could you please start again with the Mojo video?
Yle operates in more than 20 regional newsrooms around Finland. The distances are vast, but Yle aims to be where people are in their daily lives. Our vision is to increase the use of lightweight devices and mobile production methods to reach this goal. Yle has developed the skills, workflows, and tool sets needed for mobile journalism over several years.
Okay, so you got the idea what we are doing. In the video there is we like introduce all the ways we use mobile phones to make content for TV as well. But if you put backwards previous, maybe I can do it myself. That where you can see, yes, this one. Okay, and as a media house, we also, of course, we use algorithms in our for example, in Yle Arena. And the one very interesting algorithm is that one in the middle of the slide that can choose the best picture for every different audiences. And this is a future workmate that gives us a lot of interesting and very useful data. And here in the far, the first of all is, of course, the man's face looking like deep in despair. Nobody liked that one. And that's a good piece of information for us when we are giving suggestions for people in Yle Arena. And far on the left there, I guess some of them recognize the epic creature or epic people, human, Urho Kekkonen, the former Finnish president. And in 2018, when they were developing in China the first AI anchors or presenters, we were trying and piloting to get Kekkonen to speak again with text-to-speech engine, and we did succeed. And we got Kekkonen to speak words that didn't exist when he existed, like algorithms or internet or social media. And with that code snippet, we were pondering how could we use that one, and how it would be useful for a media house. And then we started to think that maybe we could make a model of all of our news presenters, and maybe you guys would like to in future choose who is the person that tells you all the news that you want to hear. And could that be the most truth, like the people who you trust most, or is it the the guy or the woman who you like best? Or could we use that code snippet for that the Voitto could be speaking in the future? But the funny thing is that in 2 years' time, there has been so much development that that is old news and old like mechanics or old like way we have now better ways to do that thing. And now it's time for my colleague Wesa to go on and from yesterday to go to tomorrow.
Hello. Thank you, Satu. I'm gonna be putting slides. So the person in the image behind me, it's not real. However, it would probably pass an ID check because it looks so real. It's made with our partners in Synthesia, and they create authentic humans using neural networks. And it's visually modeled from our leader, Jari Lahti. And I'm gonna be showing you a video that has 3 examples of what a synthetic person could say. And we can't yet synthesize Jari speak, so the speech is synthesized using a native English speaker. But it's state of the art. You should trust me. Let's see.
In the fourth quarter of 2020, YLE finished the acquisition of new competencies regarding AI, 3D graphics, and voice synthesis. YLE is now regarded as the world's leading expert on the field or synthetic humans. And now
that was a news example.
Good news to all humans and bots. There will be snow on the ground all over.
Okay, this is not good. I need to improvise a bit because the video was going to be ending for the Isaac Asimov speaking The Laws of Robotics. And basically I had three clips. One was Jari speaking news, one was weather, and one was the Laws of Robotics. And I'm gonna be putting back a bit because so you now need to imagine he speaking The Laws of Robotics.
YLE finished the acquisition of new competencies regarding AI, 3D graphics, and voice synthesis. YLE is now regarded as the world's leading expert on the field or synthetic humans.
So basically that news anchor could read that piece of text quite easily. But the laws of the robotics are, I was expecting them to be like shivering when he speaks those, but unfortunately the video ends too early, so you can't see it. But it actually doesn't work as well. So it's if an actor speaks poetry or something like that, I think the laws of the robotics, I can speak them to you so you know what I'm referring to. Laws of robotics. First, a robot may not injure a human being or through interaction allow a human being to come to harm. Second, a robot must obey the orders given it by human beings except where such orders would conflict with the first law. Third, a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second laws. That's quite an epic piece of text. And I think when robots are speaking those, it's kind of like bringing us to the future. But in reality, it didn't work as expected. So I wanted to show you that. Now, let's move forward from Jari, the synthetic AI-based presenter. This one is Wiley. It's a collaboration project with Metropolia, and they are creating a synthetic person for us. And it's not based on any AI. It's just a raw model, like old-fashioned, painfully slow 3D modeling. And if you look at him, you probably notice that it doesn't look at real. So it wouldn't pass an like passport ID check on airport, unlike Jari. But I want to say that this character has a soul. And let's watch a video of the what sort of rudimental like expressions that character can do using an actor.
No niin, hei, moi. Mä kerron teille tänään, että mitä mä söin aamupalaksi. Mä syön miltei joka päivä saman jutun, eli puuroa. Mutta hullu ihminenhän syö pelkästään puuroa ilman mitään lisukkeita. Niin mäkin yleensä silppuan sinne omenan ja laitan mustikoita.
Yeah, so that clip also ended a bit early. I'm going to be putting a few slides back. So basically what I wanted to show you there is that my kind of thought was that maybe we can create a soul for a character using artistic impression, but I'm not sure. So I'm not like really sure about like which take on synthetic characters is useful for which contexts, but I think that's what we are exploring here with Yle Innovations, and I'll ask Jari to explain more about like what we are doing. So now I'm gonna be putting this Jari slide. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Hello, do you hear me? Yes, here I am. Jari Lahti from YLE of Innovations, and it's very nice to be here in this kind of conference this way I'm now, because yesterday I was, as Wesa showed us, as a synthetic version of myself in Match AXR, and that was very, let's say, exciting and a little bit weird experience. But now, if we look at a little bit, a few words about the future, what we are doing at YLE and what we are doing concerning to future workmates, I can say that on the left-hand side of the slide, there's the question of future teams, and in the companies and corporations like YLE, of course, often the big question is that how to build, let's say, temporary innovation and explorative teams like flash teams, which are more like cross-functional functions, not just corporate, let's say, organizational box functions. And that's one big question for us as well, especially when we are doing innovation work. And if we look at the central side, the HR text there, of course, one, let's say, tool for that can be the data. And nowadays the data tells what expertises we have and what skills we lack, and or even can tell these things for us if we have good data in our data clouds. And of course data can predict the direction where the skills of media field are evolving and what skills are needed tomorrow, and not only in the media, but when we are now in the digitalization industry, not only media industry, of course we are looking at what skills we need a little bit bigger picture. We are collaborating a lot with different industries, so we are looking for competencies in a little bit bigger picture than only the media picture. But this is kind of up-level data. But then, when we are trying to build collaborative teams, the question is also, for example, what kind of social profiles are best for the certain teams to the certain solving of problems we have find and trying to find the answers. So this is interesting question for us in the future, how to get the data for social profiling. And of course we cannot let's say go to the single persons, identify the single persons by data, but we can follow, for example, the digital footprints, but of course only if people want to. And of course these are the big questions when trying to build collaborating Flash teams. And then using technology, of course, as Satu said earlier, it's very, let's say, exciting. What are the mechanics when looking at human-robot interaction? And at YLE, we have been using robots right now, for example, in our news journalism, but not in the journalistic decisions, but in the kind of simple versions of journalism, such as, for example, sports results and so on. And of course, as Satu said, AI is helping us a lot using a better user experience, for example, in Arena. So AI can also help and support the work what we are doing in teams, for example, in Arena. But what we were actually trying to show you now today and showed yesterday in EDUXR was the synthesized versions of humans. And as we know, globally, for example, in China, I have been traveling in China and seen the China state news agency Xinhua, what they are doing with AI and using, for example, the AI anchors in real life in their newscasts. And then the AI is not only in the supporting role, but it's actually in the main role. And these are interesting questions and interesting cultural questions for us. When the time is ready in Finland culturally, that, for example, at the YLE 8:30 news, like TV1 you have seen, but in internet we can use, instead of Jussi-Pekka Rantanen or Matti Rönkä, this kind of anchor. And of course we understand that the time is not now, but the question is when it is, because someday it is, I'm pretty sure. And probably we are testing this in internet, and probably we are testing it in some concepts in the future. And now I lost the slide and I have the schedule, but thanks. Now I get the slides back again. But this is very important thing, and one of the key, let's say, opportunity areas at YLE we see now, these synthetic persons and synthetic humans. And of course we are testing right now also in fiction and drama area, AI-based system that writes scripts for radio plays, the audio, AI-driven audio drama script writing. But let's see what kind of results we are getting there. But we are on the road right now. So, for example, this kind of future scenarios we have and strategic scenarios, but we are also, and we want to underline that we are very open to discuss on these scenarios a lot. About our team, after summer holidays, we started to, let's say, build the road to the next level in our innovation activities at YLE, and built a new team, and Wesa and Satu are part of the team with myself, and not only a team, but also we are building, let's say, a bigger and more efficient and effective networks right now. That's one reason why we are now talking here as well. Not only in Finland, but globally as well, and then looking, of course, to the direction of China and US in this. Teams and networks which are based on the growth mindset and which are interested in thinking strategically, but working very hands-on. And as said, we are building opportunity areas such as synthetic media and synthetic humans, and dedicated to foster especially Horizon 2 and Horizon innovations to explore the opportunities, and our strategies written so that we try to build content user experience and technology in a way that they combines let's say optimistically together. And then measuring and learning in small batches like agile way of developing is, and building cross-functional teams with our partners and networks. So when we are trying to build this kind of, let's say, flash teams, it's not only teams inside YLE, but also cross-functional outside YLE using networks and partners. Best people, of course, when exploring things. And Wesa, thanks. If you give me the next slide. Yes. So the message I would like to say to you today here is that we are looking for partners. We are looking for, of course, vendors, startups, innovators, companies, but also students, academics, and so on. And we have good experiences on this. People with new, open, innovative thinking, because we have more good questions than good answers when we are exploring things. And of course, one task is the theme of today here, that's how work and work life could really change, and what aspects we have there, and what kind of interaction, for example, between machine and human, we can predict in the future. We have good experiences using assistants like Siri and Google Assistant, but we are not only trying to use these assistants. Probably in the future we have YLE Assistant in some way as well. And there are a lot of interesting academic questions also, and we are not, at the same time we are working hands-on, of course. We really admire the good academic background in this working and this trying to make good strategic opportunity areas. So we are looking for partners, and if you are interested in talking a little bit more closer on our strategies, synthetic humans and other aspects, please don't hesitate contacting us, YLE Innovations at yle.fi. So please keep in touch. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. That was excellent presentation, and I really think that our audience would like to ask something. I opened the microphones of the audience, so you can ask questions in English, and I think you can ask in Finnish too.
Yes, Mark. Finnish is okay as well.
Mark, you have a hand up. Okay. Don't hear anything. Okay.
Right. Thank you.
What do you think is going to happen if you implement this kind of an artificial agents or AI agents into virtual reality? What's the difference if we perceive these agents as physical entities in a shared space instead of staring them on a screen or having a bot? What kind of a different use cases can you imagine? If an AI agent is just like a physical entity in a 3D space, in industry, for example, what could it do? Or in education, what could it do? Do you have anything in your mind?
I can say a few words. The examples I showed, they are not like AI agents. They are more like AI-based representations. So that's quite far away for the agents to come to this reality. So, but that's a really interesting question, because it's even more difficult to understand what is actually behind there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think the advancement in cognitive computing are quite important. It would be really nice to have
have an AI agent to be able to perceive your emotions and have a reciprocal communication, not only verbally but non-verbally. So there would be this kind of an illusion of discussing with the real person, and yes. if we would have a cross-platform avatars that could be present in any other virtual reality realms or in events. There could be these digital personalities that represent the whole organization in the digital realm. I think that's quite nice. And this is a really interesting topic that we are studying. And we actually wrote a paper about using VR in organizations, and one part of it was these AI agents. And this is really cool topic. Do you have any kind of a pilots or in VR? Have you thought about it, trying to build an avatar or something?
I think the first steps are chatbots, and from that build more towards these environments.
Yeah.
I like these explicit emotions here in these environments, which even AIs can recognize.
Have you, by the way, checked the Baby X agent? Have you checked it? It's a digital baby on a desktop that actually reacts to your emotions, and you can have a discussion with it, and it's really realistic, and it's quite spooky, spooky as well. Yeah, just check it, Baby X, and there are a couple of papers about that as well. Yeah. So I think when you can implement that sort of realism in VR, then it's really something. Yeah, check that out.
We have been pondering that maybe we could build some kind of couch potato friends that you could like watch TV and talk about politics or TV shows or whatsoever. Could that be nice? Yeah. Or could it be nice that maybe as a because we have some because we are Wiley Yleisradio, so maybe we could build some kind of homework help that could be like in dialogue with students or smaller children or something like that. That could be fancy too.
Yeah, and how about if there's some you can ask basic questions from the digital agent, and the AI gives an answer, and then you can have a simple question. But if you have more complex question, how about if a real person enters into the avatar, and takes control of the avatar, for example, in this kind of a situation, you could also do that.
Yes, and we have been pondering a lot about the ethics, because if we make a homework assistant for school kids, there is a lot of things that you have to think truly. But we see a lot of possibilities, and we are very eager to like co-create this stuff with maybe somebody who is in this room right now.
I have an idea. You were telling how to make digital newsreaders. Could it be possible to make digital twin maybe from Arvi Lind or some classical presenter, and in the future I want every news written by Arvi Lind?
That could be possible, yeah. Or it could be a digital twin of you, so that you didn't have to that the twin could do your job in social media or in meetings or whatsoever. Wouldn't that be nice?
That's a really amazing idea. And any questions?
So when would be the time that Yle has this AI newsreader online? Can you guess or estimate?
I can say, I can say that we are building some new, let's say, quite big new concepts for our internet services, and that's possible that this kind of service can be part of that also. Let's see what happens.
But okay, I thank you for this amazing presentation, and let's give applause. And we have a after party event in a virtual reality ballroom, and I think our guest there is Heikki Salo from Miljoona Sade, and he will do his first virtual reality gig there. Eli meillä on Heikki Salo siellä soittamassa ensimmäisen virtuaalitodellisuuskeikan, and I think that Miljoona Sade has been doing a lot of things. They have been playing underwater. Now he's playing in with virtual reality, and I think the day has been very successful, and let's talk and meet awesome people and have a great night. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No niin.
Dog balls.
Jep, hieno esitys oli. Kiitoksia Ylen porukkalle.
Joo, ilmeisesti, mä ajattelin, että oli ilmeisesti meidän liian pitkiä videoita, mutta eipä se mitään, tämä on pilotointia, niin tähän on,
Joo, tästä opitaan joka kerta jotain uutta, ja täällä on tiettyjä teknisiä haasteita, mitä aina tulee, mutta niitä aina kierretään sitten.
Tämä on tosi siistiä.
Ja itse asiassa niin esitysten epäonnistuminen onnistuu kyllä oikeassakin maailmassa. Viime kesänä Harkovissa, ja mulla oli esityksessä videot oli online-upotuksena, ja sitten esittäjä kertotaan, että tämä tietokone, millä esitetään, ei ole netissä. Oikeasti samankokoinen lava kuin tässä näin, ja niin kuin screenit, ja sitten mä kuvailin, mitä siinä videossa tapahtuu.
Just saatu video toimimaan videoneuvotteluyhteyden läpi, että voi tyrkätä Teamsissa tai Zoomissa videon pyörimään ja kaikki näkee sen, niin siirrytään seuraavaan ympäristöön.
Just näin. Eilen oli myös hauskaa siellä XR Matchissa, kun juuri oli Jarin esitys, niin
jollakin mulla voi olla.
Nyt joku muu. Sama kun sä voit jossain valtavan isossa seminaarissa eksyä sinne käytäville ja juokset, että missä se sali on, niin mä eksyin eilen AltspaceVR ja siellä olisi ollut Fight Clubia ja Mental Healthia ja vaikka mitä tarjolla. Mä en pääse sinne saliin ja mä tiedän, että Jari presentoi siellä.